Builds for specific weapons. Completely not needed. Now, I'm not sure who needs to hear this, and of course, if you really want to push it and build around a very specific weapon for a very specific purpose, I'm not saying you cannot. However, this stems from a conversation I had on stream, I think Friday, maybe Thursday, and I see it regularly in the Bro Squad Discord, in other Discords, and I get it asked regularly. What is a good build for Eagle Bearer? Your standard AR DPS build. That's literally it. I see so many people be like, oh yeah, check out this amazing Eagle Bearer build. And it's like, why have you actually done that? What you're doing is pointless. You can do the exact same thing with just your normal DPS build and it will most likely work better. So here is your standard DPS build, 3-piece Providence using the gift and the sacrifice. Contractors, Foxes, Coyote's Mask, as well as a FAMAS. This gives us 60% crit chance, 161 critical hit damage before Coyotes, as well as Strained. Add on another 50, takes us to 211. That's your standard high-end meta DPS build. No, but I want a Eagle Bearer build. No dramas, boo. I got you covered. We've literally just swapped Eagle Bearer in place of FAMAS. This will give us 60% crit chance and 171 critical hit damage before Coyotes. Add on 25. Other than the weapon, we literally haven't changed a damn thing, and it's still going to be the best in slot build for Eagle Bearer when just concerning high-end builds. But what about Bighorn? Yeah, not a drama. Just whack Bighorn on as well. And the other thing we need to do is the critical hit damage mod. In the backpack, we've changed to crit chance. This gets us to 56, simply just because the Bighorn is missing the crit attachments. Gets us to 56 critical hit chance and 154% critical hit damage. This is still going to be your best in slot option on a high-end build for Bighorn. Capacitor DPS build, I hear you say. Not a problem. Whack capacitor on, and we're going to change that crit chance mod in the backpack to back to crit damage. Done. Like, when it comes to building for a specific weapon, you will normally find that the best in slot builds will actually incorporate all of them regardless of what weapon you have. The best in slot build is the build itself without the weapon. They are designed this way so that you can try out your M60s with fast hands, or you can try out your Bighorns, or you can try out these things. It's one of the reasons how we're able to compare these weapons and outright say, nah, these weapons aren't actually that good. The build is offering the best damage possible for that weapon, but the weapon isn't performing with the build under the certain confines that are in place with the build that other weapons are able to outperform in. This is how we know FAMAS is like the best in slot AR, like 90% of the time. Might drop to about 70% of the time now, just because of St. Elmo's. However, the one weapon that doesn't conform to this whole wafty bollocks is St. Elmo's. Because if we take the build that we have been showing now and put St. Elmo's in, what we end up with is this. In the mask, we're able to change the crit chance mod, the only one that we were really running throughout, to a crit damage, and this gives us 64% crit chance, 188 critical hit damage before Coyotes. This all sounds well and good, but we're over the cap with crit chance, which means we're actually losing out. This is why building St. Elmo's on high end is kind of annoying, and you actually have to tank your build to make it fit. This is basically true, minus St. Elmo's, for near enough every exotic weapon. They will fit into the best in slot LMG build, will fit all of the exotic LMGs. The best in slot shotgun builds will fit in all of the exotic shotguns. The best in slot pistol builds will fit in all of the exotic pistols. There is another outlier to this, but it's not because of a stat, it's simply just because it doesn't work. The top tier MMR builds obviously are all about headhunting. Have you tried headhunting with Dread Edict? It's not fun, especially if you're playing on anything above hard difficulty. So yeah, Dread Edict is going to be an outlier here. However, Dread Edict is directly comparable to rifle DPS builds, where if you incorporate things like focus as well as aces. It is directly comparable to a Focus M1A build. It does do just ever so slightly more, but at the same time, M1A is more accurate and more stable and just easier to get along with, as well as the fact that you can customize the actual weapon to how you want, simply just because you can re-roll it, put your favorite talent on it, you can not run it with Focus. It allows for a lot more customization. So excluding Dread Edict and St. Elmo's, a best in slot build is a best in slot build, regardless of what weapon you actually put on it. You can have your best in slot Negotiators build and then run Eagleburger or Bighorn. Bighorn has actually been noted as being pretty damn good on Negotiators, simply just because of the headshot stacks, and if you get headshots, the full damage transfers on crit. So yeah, that's actually, I don't know, a niche one that maybe some people want to try out. But other than that, yeah, a best in slot build is a best in slot build. It's not going to change. There's no, I want a really good Eagle Bearer build, put on a normal DPS build and just put Eagle Bearer on. Problem solved. I really want like an amazing like Pestilence build, put on a normal LMG build and then just put Pestilence on. It's actively that simple, and it kind of really annoys me when I see all these other people being like, oh yeah, check out this amazing build, it only works with Eagle Bearer though. No, it doesn't. Now, like I said, this does not mean you can't build around your specific very weird favorite weapon. We've all got one, we've all tried it. That's fine. However, you will typically find that there are better ways to do things depending on what it is you're actually using. For example, I once tried making a Bighorn handling headshot build. Going to focus on the rifle side of it, so you're scoped in, and we're going to play Bighorn with weapon handling and headshot. It worked quite well. Then I realised I could just play a Focus M1A build, and it worked a lot better. Now, some people might say that this kills diversity or creativity within the game, and it actually really doesn't. I mean, just for the price of one build, I have given out already in this video 5 separate builds. It was literally one build, 3-piece Providence, Contractors, Foxes, Coyote's Mask, one build, and then just swapping the crit chance or crit damage mods around. We're able to fit in basically every single AR in the game. We have a decent build. We can now supplement that build with whatever AR we want. This increases diversity. It means that regardless of what build you are running, if it's designed for an AR, you can put whatever AR you want on. It's the same with rifles. The only outlier with this will actually just be MMRs, because the best way to play MMR is headhunting, and the 3 best MMRs for headhunting are Nemesis, Mantis and White Death. You can get away with the M700 and the Tactical 308, but at the same time, why would you? White Death exists. Pretty much every other MMR is not going to be good for headhunting, so you're going to have to play them in a DPS style, and the only MMR that's actually worth something in a DPS style is actually Dread Edict. What this actually then gives you is a very, very shallow pool, essentially, of things that work in very, very unique situations. And although diversity, shallow pool aren't exactly mutually exclusive, it does mean that you can make a decent build and run whatever weapon you really want. Just to show, it's the same build again, 3-piece Providence, Contractors, Foxes, Coyotes, but we got a FAMAS, which is the best in slot, highest DPS AR, and an MK16, that is the lowest non-exotic DPS AR. As we can see, they both have the exact same stats, they're both on the exact same build, same weapon attachments, same talent. The only difference between them is going to be their base weapon damage and their RPM. There is a grand total of 15% difference between them. Like, that's it. On an AR, 15% is not a lot. Once you start looking into things like striker builds and heartbreaker builds, 15% can be quite a lot, simply just because of the multiplicative values you'll be getting from those sets anyway. At the top end, there will still just be a 15% difference, which again is not a lot. The actual difference here is going to be in the stacking. So your FAMAS is going to end up with 1035 RPM, where an MK16 is going to end up with 719 RPM. What this means is FAMAS is going to get 17 stacks per second, minus the 2 stack loss per second, we end up with 15. MK16 is capable of 12 stacks per second, minus the 2 stack loss per second, we end up with 10. If we literally just put this into a build calculator, FAMAS will do 20% more than ACR after the first second. Then due to the faster gains of FAMAS after the second, where we were only 5 stacks ahead, we're now 10. Then we're going to be 15 ahead, then 20, then 25. Essentially, you're going to hit your maximum capacity on something like FAMAS over an ACR, MK16, etc., a lot quicker, just because things like FAMAS, F2000, Police M4, St. Elmo's do have a faster fire rate, which allows them to stack quicker. But more stacks at a faster rate does mean more DPS. Anyway, that was one hell of a tangent on the original point of the video. You can build for specific weapons, however, most of the time it just isn't needed. Your standard, best in slot, or whatever build it is you are running will work just fine with 99% of the weapons in the game, minus MMRs, St. Elmo's, and Dread Edict. St. Elmo's, simply just because of those pesky attachments. Dread Edict, simply just because it suits DPS MMR a lot better, but why would you do DPS MMR? And then just MMRs in general, just because we have a very powerful option for headhunting, where only 3 MMRs actually suit that purpose, plus maybe 2 extras depending on how spicy you're feeling, being the Tactical 308 and the M700. Have fun, good luck, don't die. It's bad for the health.